Journal of Keldon Zatha 100. I've been writing in my journals for many years now. It was sometime after my master took me under his wing and taught me just about everything I know as a cipher. Master. He was a good man. I got used to calling him Master, though I know his real name was Edward. Edward. Without him, I'd be lost. Maybe I would have turned to banditry to survive and never learned what it was like to use my abilities as a cipher. All that seems to pale now as a watcher. In fact, my entire future is increasingly focused on this new person that I am becoming, now that I am awakened. And I'm not sure that I approve of it, though I don't think that I can just wish that part of me away now. As for the Leaden Key and Lord Raderick, well, those are my two main goals at this point. I should have killed Lord Raderick in his own throne room. However, the number of guards surrounding him were just beyond my group. I feel cowardly to have left, but I don't say anything to my companions, who seem to agree with my decision. Now, here we are in Defiance Bay, the capital of the Durwood. I'm seeking fortune to make a name for myself, but each of my companions has their own quest, it would seem. I wish I could have helped Aloth deal with the female half that inhabits his body, but I think the advice I gave him will help, at least in the long run. As for Ader, it seems his quest to find out about his brother is caught up with my own. We need to become more well-known before we're allowed to see the records. Kana seeks a sacred book, the Book of Virtues that he believes lies beneath my stronghold at Caed Nua. Durrance seems to want to see how my being a watcher plays out, and as far as I know, he will counsel me along my path. Finally, we have Sagani, who relies on my insight as a watcher to find this man that she seeks. It would seem that my ability as a cipher would have sufficed for that. The Man Who Waits. The Leaden Key acolyte showed me a vision of an agent in a place of misery and madness. I need to find this agent and discover his or her plan to see if it holds any clues to finding the man I'm searching for. Freyol mentioned a man named Graham in the North Ward who has also been a frequent subject of Caedmon Azo's experiments, and that Graham doesn't seem to be volunteering for the experiments. Graham may be able to shed light on whether Azo has been working with the Leaden Key. Freyol mentioned that Caedmon Azo is the only one with access to the North Ward.
Right.
Speak with this guard. I best be getting back to my watch. Hello. The construct turns his head towards me and watches warily. I guess that's one of its guards to keep in everyone. Patience all over the place. Well, we need to go to the North Ward. Hello. Master Azo said he'd make me better soon. Really? Well, that's interesting. The crooked boards show deep gouge marks. They're spaced like folk or elven fingernails.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a desolate place. In terms of happiness and the way everything is kept, it's just kind of falling apart. The store's locked. Hello? No visitors. Okay. Hello? No speak. Really? I don't want these things just to start attacking if I go in the wrong way. But I have permission to enter here. This is north-like, but I don't know if this is the area. Hello? Keep your distance. Wick's in that cell back there. We've had incidents when people get close. Okay, then. Well, this is a dead end. Dead end. Well, just gotta keep looking. Can I open this? I don't have the key. It requires a key to open that. It's down this way. Hello. Stares at me through lidless eyes. It's almost like going through the catacombs. Little Orlin. I've been hearing screams in the night.
Yeah.
This is where they sleep?
Hi?
Yeah, there's nothing in there. Yeah, these are their bunks. Wood. The children they keep down here, pure evil in their eyes. Interesting. Well, I'm not going to trust the words of some crazy people. Crazy probably because of something like what I'm afflicted with, just taking a while. Being a watcher. But I assume they all have awakenings and it's driven them near madness. The copper wires and conduits are shiny. The device is warm to the touch. This is where he does his experiments. Something churns and bubbles in this tank. What's
I've got it.
Oops. Unlocked
Got
it.
it.
Oh,
I've got it.
failed. Oh. This is him. This is Caedmon. The copper wires and conduits are shiny, the device warm to the touch. Hello. A round-faced, balding man turns to face me. His upper lip is pulled upward slightly by his pointed nose, exposing his upper teeth when he scowls.
What is the meaning of this?
Ithamar told me you're not supposed to be doing any more experiments. Yes, well, Ithamar hasn't done any much good for anybody since he had his soul moved to an inanimate object, so I fail to see why I should let that sway me. If animancers all follow the commands of their leaders, where would we be? We'd all be as backward and willfully ignorant as Ried Ceres. We would know nothing about life or death, or even ourselves. We would be lost in the dark, with no clue as to why. I never thought I'd find myself in agreement with the statue, but Ithamar is right about this fellow at least. He sneers at Azo. How easily ambition masquerades as prudence. I bet he's fooled even himself. You toy with things beyond our comprehension. It's dangerous and foolish. I don't know if I should say that. Seems to me we're still in the dark.
Is that a reason to stop trying? Shall we remain in the dark until the end of time and have the last breath of the last person alive be breathed in ignorance? The gods want us to know. The clues are all around us. In understanding these truths, we honor their creation.
Not when you're actually told by your master to stop doing.
Who will solve Widewen's legacy? Some church? Some warrior? It will be an animancer, or it will be no one at all.
I heard you were demoted. How did it happen? Azo's nostrils flare and he bares his upper teeth more broadly. That's none of your concern. Did one of the others put you up to this? Oddmer? That smug weasel. Things went wrong. Everything. I don't know how. I'll never know. He spits on the floor as if to remove a bitter taste from his mouth. Have you tried your experiments on any other subjects? I have, yes. No point in lying about it, now that Ithamar is involved. I asked for volunteers from our patients, and a few brave souls came forward. I was very close at one time to a breakthrough. They understood that. They understood their sacrifices would mean something. Looking for an expert on awakenings. I don't have time to give you directions. Go bother somebody else. Alright, well, what about the North Ward? I'd like access to it. Out of the question. Those patients are in isolation for a reason. I've been given permission to conduct my investigation down here. You best cooperate.
My answer is no. Whatever you're looking for, those patients will not be able to help you. The head warden will stand by me on this.
Farewell. No, I don't trust this man. Something churns and bubbles in this tank. Well, this one's locked as well. I wonder what he keeps in there. I'm not sure where else to go then. He's the only one with access to the North Ward. A patient named Graham has been frequent subject of Caedmon. I wonder if I couldn't find this man. Need to be looking though. Maybe she'd know more.
Well met, friend.
You found what you're looking for. Would I be able to visit the North Ward? They like to keep them separate. I don't know that I've ever seen the guards allow a visitor, just Master Azo. You might ask him, he's very sympathetic. Farewell. No, we don't seem to have access to the North Ward. We could go try looking up this area, though. There were some areas that we didn't fully explore. What's in here? These are where the patients stay, yeah. Oh, we've already been around here. Must be able to say something to him. To get him to give me the key.
What is it now?
I'd like access to the North Ward. Out of the question. Those patients are in isolation for a reason. So you can coerce them into your experiments. Frail told me everything.
She's a patient! That blazing woman knows nothing of the nature of my experiments.
He balls up his fist and digs his teeth into his index finger, a growl simmering beneath his breath and a deep scowl compressing his face.
Fine. Speak to them for all the good it'll do you. I'm sure the discussions will be fascinating.
He pulls a heavy key from one of his pockets and nearly slams it down on the floor before handing it to me. Farewell. Rude, ignorant man. Alright. So I'm not sure which door. I think it was this one I needed a special key for. We can go try. North Ward restricted. Okay, well, we just open it up. Wow. Okay, there's doors on either side. We'll just have to go and search. I want to find this Graham person. Is this my face? Tell me. Oh, okay. I don't know if you're Graham. I think he's somewhat coherent. I think there's anyone in there. Let's try these doors. I don't see anybody in there. Thundering sky, rain of blood, innocence must drown. Interesting. I don't think there's anyone in there. I wonder how many of these doors there are. No one's in there either. No one's in there. Hello? This man has the look in his eyes of a hunted animal, and at my approach he staggers backward to the far corner of his cell, halfway appearing as though he would climb the walls if it would get him further away from me. He cries out, a bizarre, primal utterance like nothing I've heard. I just need to ask you some questions. He looks at me blankly. It is unclear whether he understands me or not, but his panic has momentarily subsided. He opens his mouth to speak, but the words that come out are half-formed as though his tongue were cut out. They are impossible for me to discern, if indeed they are words at all. The mutilations of animancy, crueler than any torture, to disfigure the soul. Let us return the favor to the animancers of this shit heap. There are things I need to know from you. I'm going to learn them whether or not you can speak. He looks at me with uncertainty, slowly, tentatively. He steps closer to the front of his cell, and as he does so, for the first time I can perceive his soul within my ken. It is misshapen, as though maimed by some jagged instrument, and large expanses of it have been gouged out entirely. I feel no barriers or resistance. If you wanted to, I could look into his soul, peer into Graham's soul. Project out toward the maimed soul in front of you, merging with it, its confusion and fear becoming mine as it whisks me into its depths. You're in your cell. A key turns. The door creaks open on neglected hinges. Thoughts come to me in waves, incomplete, broken, fearful. Standing at the door is a rotund, balding man. His upper teeth and pointy nose remind me of a rat. He beckons apologetic. You don't want to go. Anything else? In my mind is a single word, and the word is no, but it dissolves before it reaches my lips. I press against the back wall, cornered, and cry out. In darkness, I fight against unseen restraints. I cannot move my arms or legs. The man walks into the room carrying a lit candle, its meager flame casting long shadows across books and machinery. Straps bind my arms and legs. Cold metal circumscribes the crown of my head and the breadth of my chest. The man is sorry. He is in need of raw materials. They dismantle his work, and he needs another source. He needs to show them he was right. He thanks me. Then he turns a knob, and I feel myself begin to crack from within, and I can feel pieces of me being torn away, like having my insides chewed by a horde of rats. And then I am screaming, a scream I can barely hear. Continue searching. Another night, heavy footfalls outside the door, coming for me. I look through a slit in the door. The flesh giant, an artificial being, just outside but facing left, facing the end of the hall. The boy is there. The boy looks with interest at the giant, then collapses to the floor like a shed snakeskin. The giant convulses for a moment, then rights itself, turns away, and leaves. Decoupled from Graham's soul. Graham looks at me, still wild-eyed, but somehow more present. He nods at me, then walks back to the end of his cell. He's been twisted and turned apart and mutilated. It's horrible. I'm gonna write down here. Well, this is what Azo's doing. It's an abomination. That's supposed to make everything better? Maybe there's other people that can speak to me more. A willowy adolescent boy stands in the center of his cell, gawkish and stoop-shouldered. He stares straight ahead. The occasional blink is only movement, and it is unclear whether he registers my presence at all behind his glassy, doll-like eyes. This is the boy that Graham saw. In this state, the barriers between my soul and his are thin and porous, easily bypassed if I wish to see it. Reach out for his soul. I close my eyes and edge forward towards the boy's soul, and as I near, a sudden malaise comes over me. I'm cold and warm at once, sweating and shivering and straining for breath, as I did on the caravan journey. The soul I approach is the wrong one, a parasitic plant that strangles its host. It is predatory and pitiless, and I have crossed paths with it before. Too late does it occur to me to retract, and already I feel myself plunging into some interminable abyss of thought and memory. I'm standing in a cell row, the same cell in the sanitarium. The halls are moonlit and empty, and I am waiting. At the far end of the ward, the door opens, revealing a flesh golem in silhouette beneath the stone archway. It makes its usual rounds, the same stops every time, the misbegotten child of despondent creators. When the construct is close, I'll coil myself up and spring forward, passing out of the boy's body as though it were a membrane. I can sense his body behind me collapsing to the floor, a puppet whose strings are cut. I'm rushing towards the golem now, bodiless as a gust of wind. Quickly, I think to myself, and I feel the strength hemorrhaging from my soul as I dart towards the makeshift abomination. I pass into the golem's shell and overtake the soul implanted within, encircling it, suppressing it, and contained in this new vessel, I am strong again. He's jumping bodies? I had no idea that was possible. I step heavy-footed down corridors, unheeded by the other constructs, and scrutinized only by the wary, untrustworthy eyes of the mad, coming at last to an office piled with books and scribbled papers and the perverse implements of animancy. I set my oversized hands upon a large machine, a nest of globes and tubes and coils in the center of the room, and go to work, bending wires and unsettling alignments. My surroundings are pulled past me, or perhaps I'm pulled past them, and they dissolve into a blur. When they settle into place again, I'm outside on a clear day, standing in front of a crowd stacked high above me on the tiered seats of an amphitheater. I'm acting for the crowd, standing deliberately still, but this is no play. A balding man with rodent-like features is strapping me to a machine, the one I had tampered with. I see my arms for the first time, short and fleshy, unmistakably those of a little girl, but this body is not truly mine. My mind still holds the same determination, the same hard-heartedness as before. The body itself is cold and vacuous, unlike the others. This one has no soul of its own. The man speaks and the crowd applauds, with an enthusiasm worth of a hero's entrance. "Bear witness," he says, and he pulls a lever. The machine shivers and sparks, and a bead of sweat rolls down the side of the man's brow, but the crowd's apprehension quickly gives way to awe as a crystal globe fills with radiant mist that casts the entire theater aglow. He opens a valve, and the glow crawls through a tube along a length of copper wiring that runs to a set of electrodes beneath my armpits. I feel nothing when it reaches me, as it should be, for I have been leading his work astray periodically for some time, altering notes and settings and playing puppeteer for Hollowborn, but I make it look like how people would expect it to look like when a body is infused with a soul. In a moment, the machine goes dark, and the man unstraps me, eyeing me with the scientist concerned. He looks back up at the crowd. "Behold," he says, but there is obvious hesitation in his voice. Slowly, I take a plodding step forward, then another, and another. I look up at the man, giving him the eye contact of which no Hollowborn is capable, and the crowd gasps. The man looks relieved. "How do you feel?" he asks at a volume meant for the crowd, and this is the moment. At the top of my lungs, I let out a piercing shriek. The man comes towards me, his hands outstretched, but I run the other way, back to the machine. With all my strength, I drive my head into the crystal globe, and it shatters, streaking my head with warm blood. I drive my head down into the surface of the machine again and again, drawing panic screams from the crowd, and by the time the man reaches me, my body has already ceased proper function and merely twitches on the cold ground. Satisfied, I depart the corpse in search of another unsuspecting host. Who could put their faith in animancy now? I am pulled again from my surroundings, transcending the boundaries of memories and lifetimes, deeper and deeper past betrayals and murders and lies upon lies that form the thick webbing of plots beyond mortal comprehension. I settle at last on a room I have seen before, expansive, with a tall device encasing an Adra monolith at its center. The room is filled with people, and the people all look at the device. I am yanked suddenly back to reality, and the once catatonic boy in the cell is looking directly at me, appraising, calculating. There is no mistaking now that it is the soul of the man who caused my awakening that gazes out from that borrowed husk. A watcher. What are you? You made me into a watcher. But I'm not really a watcher. Someone who'll break those frail legs of yours if you don't do exactly what I tell you. Is that so? He makes no effort to hide his disinterest, but he continues to search my eyes. He makes a slight grunting noise, and his eyes soften for an instant, and it seems for that moment that he recognizes me. He opens his mouth to speak, then seems to think better of what he was about to say. His jaw tightens. I know your look, your hunger for answers that eludes you. It gnaws at your soul. It usurps your reason for being. You are like everyone. I will help you. Let go. He dodges backward with a startling grace, putting himself out of reach. On his face there is no malice, only the dispassion of a farmer putting down a sick animal. Then suddenly he slumps forward. I think he aims to kill me. He's not trying to help me, he's trying to put me down. Son of a... Alright, we've got a battle here. I really wish we had that sixth person, but it's too late to complain about that now. We just have to survive.